Right. Welcome, welcome. As people come in, if you guys can let them in, that's great. I haven't figured this whole how to get you to come in on your own since you're outside my organization. So we'll work through it, whatever that looks like. So for some celebrations, let's do use the react button. And if you're working on anything that we started talking about during our first session, I'm going to go through a little list. Just use your react button, like a hands up or something like that, and then take it down when we finish. Or use the react button. That's even better. We can do the applause. Okay, are you ready? So who's working through the ArcGIS Pro MOOC? Anybody? Nobody? All right. I know what's not important. Has anybody worked through the LinkedIn life hacks? Okay, you guys have been busy. How about who bought The Big Leap, the book that we talked about? All right. Who's working through Survey 123, the blueprint that I did on LinkedIn? You may not have seen that here, but I posted it on LinkedIn. All right. And how many of you have a job interview this week or in the near future? Internships work too. All right. I'm going to celebrate you because that's awesome. And how do I say your name? Is it Tell me how you say your name. Barira?
It's Barira.
Barina.
Yeah.
I love that.
Barira.
Okay. So tell us just a little bit about what you're doing this summer, because I'm really excited for you and we all need to know.
So it's an Earth observation project. I'll be working at the University of Wyoming, and it is under the umbrella of NASA Develop. Basically, it is a GIS internship program, but geared towards natural sciences.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's going to be amazing to watch you do that. All right, friends, let's see. Marketing Minute. This is what I'm going to teach you. So we're just going to go through a couple of housekeepings because this is going to be phenomenal for your growth and for people who watch these videos in the future. So at the end of our time together, I'm going to ask you what your superpower is. And we're going to dial that in as we get going. And it can change, whatever that looks like. If it's a soft skill, I want you to start thinking about your GIS skill, because as people watch this video in the future, they're going to start seeing you show up and show up and show up. And today, maybe it's a soft skill, but in 3 weeks, you might dial it in. And so as they're watching you transform, they may reach out to you because they have a job. And so as we do this, use this as a marketing tool for yourself also, because all these folks on here, they're going to get jobs, and they're going to know that they know you. This is our little community and how we're going to help each other. So if you start showing up, and when you start telling everybody what your superpowers are, keep it to about 5 words for now. We'll dial that into a bigger sentence later and kind of figure all that out. And I guess maybe I have to do that. I'm going to let these people in. So what we're going to do is dial in your superpower, about 5 words at the very end. And we'll do that every single time so people can see you grow. And just know that somebody's going to watch this down the line. I'm just trying to read my notes and make sure I covered everything. Yeah, that was your superpowers. We're going to do that at the very end. And know that like some of you are on camera and some of you are hiding. That's okay. Just know that people are going to start seeing your facial expressions. So when you feel comfortable getting off camera and showing up on camera in the future, people are going to watch this and they're going to start seeing you smile and nod and, oh no, I can't believe Michelle said that, or whatever. They're going to start realizing who you are, and they're going to see everything about you. So when you show up on camera, get dressed up. It's a morning meeting. It's 8 o'clock. Actually, it's 8 o'clock here. You might be a different time zone. Just know, even if you just from chest up, Do your hair and makeup. Not you, gentlemen. You don't have to do your makeup, but little eyeliner. Oh, sorry. We can scratch that. Anyways, just to let you know, marketing moments. Take this as you're showing up here because this is, you want that job, whatever that job is, or some of you already have a job and you're looking for people. So keep that in mind as we use this time together. I had coffee. Can you tell? It's way too early. Okay, let's see. If you find this helpful, being in this community, tell your friends. This is the third one that we've done. The second one did not get recorded because of the sensitive nature of that one. If you missed it, I'm sorry. We'll probably do it again someday in the future. Let people know, because this is a free mentorship. We're going to do this one once a month probably, and just dial in some things. At the end, okay, let me ask you a question. For some of you who are just getting ready to get to your job, you need to deep dive into that. If I did a program for 8 weeks to teach you how to dial in your LinkedIn and your resume, mostly LinkedIn, you got to really use your LinkedIn. Thank you. I love that. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just going to plug this real quick. I've been thinking about it. We're going to do the free one once a month. If you need a deep dive into how to maximize your LinkedIn and get yourself set up and some thought processes on how to show up to your job interview, I'm thinking about doing an 8-week course. I've been thinking about this since the very first one because some of you are right there. You need help. I was thinking about doing the whole 8 weeks for $80, but if you want to sign up before we start, we'll do $60 just to kind of, figure that out. I figure that's a cup of coffee. So if that, it's a big cup of coffee in California, I should say. I love that you came off mute for that one. Maybe not in your town, huh? 2 copies? All righty. My coffees.
That is almost my weekly budget for groceries for a family of 4.
Okay. The $80 is okay.
Yeah.
So what we could do maybe is break that into pieces. So talk to me. Maybe we can do some kind of scholarship. I don't want you to be left out because of financing, but some of you can pay for it. So don't let that
The
deter
people
you.
who have a job,
yes,
which don't need it.
Well, they can still learn how to dial in their LinkedIn because you may not like your job after you get your review. So
and quite frankly, so we're having this family discussion right now where the sole breadwinner in our family is in a business that and he's not from America, so he didn't know quite all of our slang. But I listened to him as I was picking him up from work yesterday, and he says that he is the most unhappiest that he has been in 30 years working, and he could identify that it was a very toxic, and he had his boss telling him that the boss felt unhappy because his boss had yelled at him, and he's like, you just yelled at us last week in a meeting. And I says, well, honey, that's called shit rolls downhill.
That's bad leadership.
And if that's making you unhappy to this degree, then we need to reevaluate if you really want to be working with this company. If you want to lend your gifts to this company, and the only thing that happens is the person up above craps on this person and that person craps on you, and then you come home and you crap on everybody, then we're not we're too far advanced in our relationships to put up with that.
Yeah.
Life's too short.
I agree with you.
And so thinking about it, and I told him, I says, update your LinkedIn. It's time to find a new place. You need to find a new home because that home is not working for you. And so I think everybody should always know that you're not stuck in a long-term relationship with an employer who doesn't value you.
Yep.
So
I agree with you 100%. I've been in a relationship with a bad boss, and she was not very nice. So thank you. I appreciate that. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do a little writing, because that's the first step of figuring out who you are and who you want to be. I posted something on LinkedIn today because I was talking to myself in the car, and I was trying to figure out a post. So I just figured on my way to work, I was going to put on my my little video recorder and talk to it. And it was like therapy. I had never done that before. So it was therapy. I was like, when I got to work, I was energized. I was going to dominate the world and make boring maps, because I wasn't working on Survey 123 right now. My Survey 123 process, or my busy season, is fires and floods. So in California, it's 2 seasons. And it's getting there. We're almost there, because all that water is going to come down the hills. And but right now I'm on these other projects. I'm making boring maps, and so I have to put my war paint on and my hair, power hair, so that I can just dominate the world and be happy about it, because you got to do that. But I have really good bosses, so it's not a problem. I just got to get mentally prepared for that. So if that's something you want to listen to, that's a little thing I put out on LinkedIn today. So today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on you. I'm going to show you what I did when I was first starting my journey. This is a book that I bought at Disneyland. This is the it's just a notebook, and it's the Up notebook. So if you watched Up, it's got, and then it's just lined pages. So what I do is when I knew I wanted something special to follow my journey, because I knew something was shifting. I had just started a mentorship program, and it was so that I could figure out how to build my business. But on the other side of that, you guys are trying to build yourself for that first job. So you're in the same place. So find a notebook you like to work in. I like gel pens. I have probably 30 different colors, because depending on my mood, I want to change that. And if I have good pens, I write prettier. So it's more creative that way. So find something you enjoy to work in that you're going to keep, because you're going to follow your journey. And so today what we're going to do is, even if you don't have something you're really excited about writing in, I want you to write it on paper. What we're going to do is the exercise. The exercise for today, put the date at the top, because what's fun is being able to go back and figure out how you started, because you're going to, when you hit a wall and you're working in the suck, because sometimes that happens. You're on a project that's got a deadline that's unmanageable. You have a lot of stress, and you need to get out of your head. So take a break at that moment when that happens. And go take this journal with you and say, oh yeah, I remember when I started. And you're going to see your growth, and you're going to read all these questions. We're going to go through them monthly. But I want you to do this self-evaluation, because that's going to help you figure out who you want to be, who you want to show up on LinkedIn. That's the whole other thing about this post that I did today. It was me conforming, because you won't even have to listen to it, because I'm just going to tell you. Me conforming when I went to ITT right after high school, 92. That was a while ago. And I was dating somebody. And we went to, or he was going to get a Raiders jersey. And my family and him, everybody I know is a Raiders fan, because we're from California. I am not a Raiders fan. I'm a 49ers fan. But at that time, I was having this battle in myself. Did I want to conform and get that Raiders jersey? Or did I want to be myself and get a 49ers jersey? I'm going to tell you, I didn't get the 49ers jersey, because my mental state at that point was, I was shifting between two places. In high school, I was out loud. I knew who I was. My people were there. It was great. When I went into ITT, I need to get more professional. I need to have professional hair. I need to get cute clothes. And I did, but I didn't realize what I was doing to myself mentally. And so for about 15 years, I lived there in this conformist kind of, I'm presenting myself like everybody wants me to. But in my head, it was wrong. because that's not who I am. I live out loud. I love cosplay. I love power hair and makeup and all of that. But I wasn't doing any of that. And so in my head, I was not happy. And so you need to find out who you are and where you want to live, because once you figure that part out, you can go forward and live your best life. But if you're conforming, you're not going to be happy and you won't figure it out. I'm 48 years old. It took me till last year when somebody said, it's okay to live where you love to live. Don't live for somebody else. I'm going to move you guys over here so I don't look off to the side. I can actually look at you. Anyways, be yourself. So that's what this exercise is. This is, let me tell you what the questions are. First, put how old you are. What have you completed that you're proud of? And I'm going to put these up on a screen too. I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but I like looking at you guys. Who inspires you or inspired you at some point? These are all for you. Nobody's going to share this unless you want to, but this is just for you. This is your private place to put, all this information. And how do you feel about where you are today? So those are the ones we're going to start with. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let me do this. I'm going to share the big screen so that you can see it. Okay. So these are your questions. And I'm going to do this too, because I wanted to. I'm going to give you about, let's say 3 minutes, because nobody's going to want to watch quiet for too long. But let's do 3 minutes. Just do bullet points because you can make it pretty later. And then go through and figure it out. I'm not going to play any music or anything because I'm a first child and music distracts me. So enjoy the quiet for 3 minutes. I'm going to give you a second set of questions, and that is, who were you in high school? So, what were your dreams? What did you expect life to look like? And how did you feel about that? Because when I started looking back at who I was in high school, I wanted a whole different lifestyle than I did a year ago. And so when I started revisiting that, I started shifting. And so I hope that your high school self was amazing and you still want some of those things. It's just your dream circle and your income circle have converged, and now your dreams can only be this big. So give you 3 minutes for that one too. All right. So you can keep writing or you can continue the journey. This will be your homework this week. I really want you to dial this in, because once you get this under control, the path to where you want to go becomes easier. So what I'm going to do is let's talk about things. So some of you need to get that first job. And so when you, let's say it's interview day, and I want to ask you, what does your morning ritual look like when you have that interview day? Because there's things you need to do to get yourself mentally ready to go into an interview. And so let's see, how do I want to do this? Okay. What I want you to do is either in chat or come off your mic, turn on your mic, and let me know what are some of those things that can get you out of your head when it's that morning, your interview morning. Are you just going to get up, shower and go to your interview? Or are you going to play rock music on your way, or whatever that is that gets you out of that I'm freaked out, I don't know what I'm doing. They're going to see through me. I'm going to feel like a fraud. These are all things I've been through. These are my ideas of how I was going into my interviews until my last two. So I want to hear, what are some things that you do to get outside of your head? You can do it in chat or you can come off your mic. Or if you don't know, I can tell you. All right, Sean, go for it.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say it's like a a huge tip here, but I've been on the other side of a lot of interviews, being a supervisor, and I've seen a lot of people that just come in really nervous, or they give their one-line answer to your open-ended question. And the best advice I can really give somebody in that is, as a hiring manager, I don't care if you have the textbook answer. I don't care. What I want to do is I want to get you talking. I want you to get, I want you to say stuff about yourself. I want you to have some interest in the business. So usually what I do when I am prepping for an interview is either, if I have time the morning of, or, if it's a morning one, I'll do it the day before. I'll just go to their website. I'll check out their mission statements. I'll write it down for myself. I'll try to figure out what the company is doing. And I'll just line up a bunch of questions, right? And if you have questions, to me, one, it makes you look more prepared. And two, when you finally get to the end and they ask, do you have any questions for us? You have something. You don't just have a, nope, I guess I'm good, right? And put stuff down that you actually care about. Like, it doesn't have to be, oh, I have to look like I'm like super motivated for that company. Like, if you're interested in pay or benefits because you have a special case, right? Then ask those questions, right? And they may not know the answer, and that's okay, but they might try to get it to you, or something. But that's usually what I do. And just kind of having that, I went through their website, I wrote down some questions that I want to ask. And if they answer it during the course of your interview, just, knock it off. That's fine. And I just either have, if it's an online one, I'll have a notepad up, or, if it's in person, I'll bring just a little piece of paper or something to take notes on. Because, and this is where sort of this comes full circle. They're not just interviewing you, you're interviewing them. And I know that everyone wants a job, and believe me, I would take just about any job right now, given the field and experience. You're interviewing them, right? If they seem like a total black hole company that's just going to suck up your time and effort, and you're okay with that for a little bit, right? That's your determination. If you're in a space where you're like, wow, like this, they don't seem like the right sort of people for me. They're not engaging me, like they kind of failed the interview. That's something for you to take away too. So for me to be less nervous, I always think I'm interviewing them. And that's apparent when you're asking your questions at the end, right? And when they're floundering and they don't know the answers, that's telling a little bit, especially when there are questions that are important to you. So that's sort of what gets me in the mindset of, it puts me in control, right? It's not just like, oh, I hope they think good of me. It's, they better make a good impression on me. Are they showing up on are they even coming on camera? If it's a Skype meeting, do they have some sort of like, business attire on, or, did they put on, just a white t-shirt and they barely got out of bed? And, that's fine. If they're cracking jokes about it and they're funny and personable, maybe that's okay too. But it's a two-way street, and that's how I get that's how I stay in a, I guess, a good conversation.
I have a question for you. Since you've been on the other side, do you have like a one favorite question somebody ever asked while you were in that interview session?
Oh man. I wouldn't say it's a favorite question, but I have been kind of gotten some interesting sideways questions. One that a lot of people don't ask is, and not everyone will tell you a straight answer. I always try to give people a straight answer because I felt like that was the respectful thing to do. But I had probably in the hundreds of rounds of interview, I probably had 2 people ask me, not how their interview went, but if they could have improved, done something different during their interview, like what would that have been? What would have been a good thing to improve upon? And it's something that you don't really get in an interview cycle. You don't really get that circle feedback. So I would try to take a minute and think about how their interview went. And, I might have to say, look, I'll have to get back to you. And I'd write them up something to say, not necessarily here's what you answered right or wrong, but, maybe this is something to avoid during an interview. Like if you're the guy who's constantly adjusting their tie, like just do something with your hands, right? Like set them on the ground, don't do anything. But yeah, that's kind of a question that really throws people off. And again, you won't always get a straight answer, but if you feel like the interview was really short, right? Scheduled for 30, lasted 15, maybe toss it out there. What could I do to improve my interviewing?
That's where we are. We're 3 minutes over, so let's finish. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
I appreciate that. I want to give you all a chance to do your superpower. So if you want to do your superpower, this I'm going to put in the chat. See if I can cut and paste your list real quick of who's left. And I'm going to paste it in here. So chat. See if I can cut and paste this. There it is. So if you want, go ahead and that's your list. So top to bottom, tell us what your superpower is in about 5 words. Albert may not have a mic. Okay, Sean, you first.
Okay. I would say my superpower is solving people's problems.
Nice. I like that. And then Kat, go ahead. Oh, I thought we might have moved.
So my superpower is that I am ferociously determined.
Ooh, I like that.
I actually had a professor, my advisor in college, that he said that on my letter of recommendation. He said that I was the most ferociously determined person that he had ever worked with in 42 years of teaching at the college level.
That's awesome.
And I think about that, and it's like that is a superpower.
All right, Kat, we're over 4. We're over 5 words. We're over time, so I got to cut you off. Sorry. And Valaquina, did I say your name right?
Let me unmute myself. Carino.
Carino. Very
Carino.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's really nice to meet you online. I would say I've worked in a whole bunch of different fields, and that's probably a good thing, I would say.
I like that. Thank you. And then Barella. I love that name. Are you still here? She might be here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
It's a difficult question, like you mentioned in your LinkedIn as well. But I would say I am empathetic towards environment and people, so solution-oriented personality in that regard, I would say. That's
Wonderful.
my superpower.
Wonderful. And then Albert, were you able to get off your mute, or you can just type it in if you need to? Oh, there you are. Nope. It went back on mute. Let's see. See if I can help you. Okay, you should be on. Just, I think there's just a little bit of lag. You might be on the other side of the world. So go for it and see if we can hear you. Nope. Can you type it in for us? Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Stop the recording.